তুমি এখানে কিছু কোনো সাউন্ড শুনতে পাচ্ছ কি?
Okay, so welcome back everyone to day 20 of the 21-day series, which, oh my gosh, it's the second last day. Wow. I think I can see some lovely comments. Like Dr. Prasad has said, can't believe it's day 20. Time has really flown. And some of I think Shah's written as well. He thought he'd give up halfway. I'm sure maybe all of you thought that. So yeah, put in the comments, guys, what you're feeling now compared to your expectations, I guess, before this series started. I think a bit of skepticism is so normal because especially this is an online platform. You just don't know what to expect. Hey, I mean, we could have been a hoax or scammers, could we? So so I think I have to say a big thank you to all of you for placing your trust in this system and in us as well. And I guess the divine power has guided us all to meet, get to know each other, become like one big virtual global family as well. And yeah, we cannot believe it's the second last day. So, like we have said in the past few days, not to despair, that even though it is 21 days and tomorrow is the 21st day, we are doing the 21 days intermediate series. So, if you are currently not in one of our WhatsApp groups, please put your number and name in the chat box now so that we can add you in and you can tell us whether you want to be in the intermediate series, as we may be we'll basically be creating a new WhatsApp group. I think sometime today. Monica's working very hard behind the scenes to do this, just to help sort of condense it down a bit more, as right now we've got three WhatsApp groups at the moment. If you're brand new, welcome to Saj Yoga. Please check out our website, and we recommend you check out days 1, 2, and 3 to learn the foundation about Saj Yoga. And please do put your name and number in the chat box as well so that we can get in touch with you, as we may do another like beginners episode in the coming days as well. So emails are good, guys, but numbers are preferable because in numbers we can add you to the WhatsApp group. It makes communication much better. So numbers and emails would be great. Emails just means that you get things sent out, the resources, but also in the WhatsApp group, the numbers, we do send the resources there as well. So numbers are easier for us. Awesome, cool. Maria's putting numbers down. Yep. Maria, yeah, Maria, you specified you want to go to intermediate. Wonderful. Yep. So if you're brand new, name and number, and sorry, please also say if you are new. Unfortunately, we're not psychics or mind readers as much as I'd love to be, so that we know how to differentiate who's who. If you are coming regularly, or you've done some of the days, you've caught up, but you're currently not in one of our WhatsApp groups, please put your name and number as well and tell us if you are intermediate. Yep, brilliant. I can see people are doing this. Cool. I think, Brian, you are in one of our groups already. It might be, so there's 3 groups we have, guys. There's one that's got a little sunflower emoji, there's one with a little rose, and there's one with a pink flower, and the icon is all 21 days. So if you just check your WhatsApp phones, and you will find, and you know, if you're searching your WhatsApp, just type day 20. All 3 groups have the same name, just different colored flower emojis to help us differentiate it. Wonderful, guys. I love how you're all trickling in your details, so we'll capture all that. Our YouTube viewers, what I would suggest is YouTube folks, you can put your name and number. I personally think just for your security, because that is on YouTube, you might not want total randoms calling you. We will put Vabhav's number on the YouTube comments, so you can directly WhatsApp him, and again, tell him your name. Your number will obviously be there, and specify if you are a beginner or an intermediate. So that'll help save our, well, not help save our time, but it'll help cater for you guys, because we want to give the best service or experience, you can say. So day 20, what we have in store for you guys today is, again, we're going deeper in our meditations, and we have Uncle Sudipto today from Brisbane leading the class. You saw his lovely little son Rudra, or Ishan as we call him, playing the saxophone. Touchwood, he's a very talented boy, only in high school as well, so it's great to see our young talent coming up. And he was, I believe, playing different ragas, or like we said, sort of like bhajans, which are hymns, on the saxophone. And he'll play, I think, a little bit for us later on as well. So if you have foot soak buckets, do not despair. It's completely fine. You can always dip your feet in when the meditation commences. If you don't have a foot soak bucket, again, it's okay. Like we say, go with your heart. Today was not a foot soak scheduled session. But if you feel like, man, I just need to dip my feet in, you've had a long day, or you need that bit of clearing, there's no harm for you to go grab that now. So without further ado, we're going to hand over to Uncle Sudipto, and I'll see you guys in the end.
Thank you, Rachita, and good evening and welcome everyone. It's evening here, so that's why good evening. But if you're in other parts of the world, good day. So I have a great time. So welcome to today's session. And as Rachita mentioned, generally, I've been going with the theme of this week. Today's focus is going deeper into meditation and try and see how we can stop reflecting, or in essence, stop reacting. So it's an interesting proposition Shri Mataji has suggested. If we can try and, for example, generally we listen, we absorb our thoughts, and we register everything through our sense organs, which are the, for example, eyes, ears, and all of that. But in today's session, we'll try and see if we can listen, absorb, feel through our sahasrara. So that's kind of, it's an interesting premise, but you don't have to believe what I say. It's kind of an experiment that we can do together. And to set the kind of tone, we'll have a brief talk by Shri Mataji, which is where she actually explains the need of thoughtless awareness and the benefits of it. So we'll first listen to that and then go through the guided meditation process, and then we'll listen to her talk again. So let's listen to Shri Mataji's talk. Thank you.
It's very important today, and it's so easy. Sahaja. Saha is with, Ja is born. Born with you is the right to become one with the divine, united with the divine. That is yoga. Yoga is nothing but to be united with that divine power. That's what yoga is. All other things are subsidiary. This union brings forth new dimensions on our central nervous system. As an evolution, we always develop a new dimension. By this, you develop a new awareness of collective consciousness, by which you can feel other people, their centers. Sitting down here, you can feel the center of somebody who is dead. Even you can feel his centers and find out what he was. Was he a realized soul or not? You can find out about anybody, whether he was a realized soul or not, sitting down here. You have to just think about it, put your hands. If you are a realized soul, you can feel on your fingertips what is the problem. And somehow, if you know how to correct those problems, you get rid of your own diseases and the diseases of others, your own problems and the problems of others. First, you enter into a state of mind which we call as thoughtless awareness. When you cross this center of Agya, that is placed in the optic chiasma, you become thoughtlessly aware. You are aware, but there is no thought. It's what a blessing it is.
So as you heard from Shri Mataji, so that's the aim of today's meditation session. So And we'll essentially use our attention to try and guide ourselves into meditation. So what we can all do together is we'll do this very nice and slow, no rush. So we'll raise our kundalini together and put ourselves in bandhan. So we'll do it very nice and slow, not to rush. And while doing so, we'll just put our attention on our where our hands are going and on top of our sahasrara. So we'll do this for the second time and tie 2 knots. And then we'll do it for the third time and tie 3 knots. We'll go over as a rainbow 3 times. 2, 3. Then we can go 4 more times. So now just let us raise our hands with the palm again upwards, and we'll just raise it towards the sky and stretch it as much as possible. You can keep our eyes closed. And here let us try and ask a question to ourselves. Is this the power of the divine love that surrounds us? You can ask this question within yourself and try and see what you feel on top of your palm. Please make sure that the palm is pointing upwards. Slide silently to yourself. Is this the power of divine love that is surrounding us? Just see what you feel. Try not to react to it. Now we'll slowly bring our hands down back on our lap, and again we'll sit nicely with the palm pointing upwards. We'll try and keep our attention where our hands were. Let's try and see if we can hold our attention up there. Now we'll slowly bring our attention to our top chakra and the sahasrara. Slowly move it down along our spine to the base of our spine. enlightened attention will just try and nourish our Muladhara. Hold our attention at our Muladhara for maybe a short while. Now we'll move our attention up to our right Swadhisthana, or where our liver is. Please make a note that the liver is the seat of our attention. So now we'll nourish our liver with our attention. To be more specific, our enlightened attention. Now we'll slowly move our attention to our left heart, where our spirit resides. And he will nourish our spirit. Slowly move our attention back to our central channel, to our Vishuddhi, and then move it along the central channel through our Agya to our Sahasrara. Try and put our attention on our breath. And the way we will do that is we'll try and reduce the frequency of our breathing. We'll take a deep breath, hold the air inside our lungs for a couple of milliseconds. And then slowly breathe out. We will not breathe in again. We hold our breath outside for a few seconds. Now we'll again breathe in. Hold our breath inside. Slowly breathe out. Hold our breath outside. And repeat this cycle for maybe another 2 times. Let's try and see if we can keep our attention on our breath. You notice at some point that there are no thoughts that are in your mind. There are no thoughts, but you are still aware, as Shri Mataji mentioned in a talk. It's a state where you are in meditation, you are aware of everything, but there are no thoughts to disturb you. So try and stay in this thoughtless state for a couple of more minutes. So now in this thoughtless state, we'll listen to Sri Mataji's talk. And this talk is about how to stop reflecting after self-realization and going deeper into meditation. But what I'll request all of you is to, rather than listening it through your ears, try and see if you can listen it through your sahasrara. Just do it as an experiment and see how you feel, how you go about it.
So once you are in thoughtless awareness, what happens? That no thoughts bombard your mind. Wherever you may be. You may be in America, you may be in any place, you are not bombarded by thoughts. So, what does that mean? Into very simple language we can say, it means that you do not reflect. You do not have a reflecting mind. Now, this is the basic problem of Saj Yogis of today, which one should try to conquer. That you do not reflect. That's the only way you can achieve your steady. For example, I've seen people, for nothing at all, they'll just start laughing. Nothing at all. They see somebody, immediately they react. This was nice, but not so. They start giving their opinion, especially in the West, about everything. Everybody seems to be very knowledgeable and start telling what is best, what is not the best, what is not good. And once they start saying something like that, mind becomes reflective. If the mind is not reflective, then you are thoughtless awareness. Watch anything, just you watch, just witness. You should not reflect. If you are using your mental power, then this power subsides. This is a very common defect with people, because I think you people are more intelligent, you think maybe, I think you are well educated, might be, I don't know, whatever you think. But this reflecting mind is a very dangerous thing for spirituality. You'll never grow. And then with the reflecting mind, you have different emotions. With something, you reflect on somebody. Now, if it's your son or daughter or something, you get identified. Identification with some is artificial. It's not in reality. But because of this mind reflects, it identifies. Now many identifications you have dropped out. For example, your bias about religion, about races, about maybe nationalities, you have dropped out. But still, I would say, the reflecting mind still acts. And this is the greatest hurdle for the progress of Saj Yogis of today. I've been thinking, why is it the reflecting mind is so active in Saj Yogis of today? If you could stop reflecting, immediately you establish yourself in the ocean of peace. You watch something, just watch. There's no ripple of thought in your mind. Then you become extremely creative. You become extremely dynamic. You become extremely compassionate. You have no fear. Some people think if you are compassionate, you see this man might lynch you. You have no fear. All virtues that you have to enjoy, you can only enjoy when you do not reflect. That means that you leave everything to the divine. You have not in charge. You don't see that you have to be reflecting on something. This is the greatest power you have got, is not to reflect, not to look at somebody with that kind of. I have seen this is still there, lingering. Perhaps I never told you about it, maybe one of the reasons. I don't say that it's only your fault, but maybe mine, because I couldn't find what was exactly wrong. That is the reflection that you have about others. Now, I told you have introspection. For introspection, also it can be reflection. But that at least gives you idea as to where you are. But with that, psychologically you can become extremely depressed, you can condemn yourself, then you may not understand yourself as a personality that you, and you'll go on sort of uh, losing your vibrations, losing your power, because you are not control of yourself. So introspection also, if it brings about depression and demeaning of your personality, best is not to introspect also. Because all these mental activities I've seen create problems. But in a state where you are thoughtlessly aware, introspection comes to you automatically. You see it automatically. You understand it automatically. You do not think about it. It just comes to you. The whole picture comes to you and you are at peace with yourself. You are never in turmoil, never in trouble. Then you don't get angry, then you do not argue, then you do not discuss, but you become as if dropped into the ocean of awareness. And you don't have to worry as to solve something. When you are reflecting, then you find that this power works. Now it becomes very contradictory to say that you have to project and you don't have to reflect. Now when we reflect, we absorb. When we reflect on something, we absorb that thing. And mostly our attention goes to the defects of others. This person is no good, that is not good, this is the hair not all right, the sari is not all right, this, that, and all nonsense. So what are we doing? We are absorbing all the bad things also. Now when you start admiration of something, then what happens? That you may not get the bad things, but at least you are on a better line. But still, the admiration in thoughtless awareness is really very deep. I saw this in the eyes of this great scientist. Absolutely, he was just one with me, and his eyes were like an ocean of peace. He was just looking at me. And for quite some time, and then he came to his thoughts and he told me that this is what we can do with your photograph. So the depth in you will only come when you do not reflect. But it's very common with human beings, especially in the West. This carpet is no good, that is no good, this smell is coming, that is there. Always trying to judge others. Judge other things, which is important. What is so important? If you are sitting in the garden of heavens, what does it matter where you are sitting, what you are doing? This sets in, this reflection sets in waves of thoughts in our mind. I have already once described it by drawing, how the energy that falls on the right side goes to the left side, and the falls on the left goes to the right, crosses over because of two types of cells we have. Then out of this energy that goes to the right, the energy that goes to the left, it is sucked in partly into the sympathetic. Now whatever is left out is the one that reflects. That is the way it goes on reflecting. Now if you can suck in all that energy and put it on our sympathetic, then all our energies will be thousandfold much more.
So now we'll continue to still be in that thoughtless state and Try and absorb some more music on saxophone through your Sahasrara. Great. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. So just to bring ourselves back, what we'll do is we'll just raise a couple of strands of Kundalini, nice and slow through our central channel and up our Sahasrara. Just do that a couple of times. You may by this time know that where our hand goes, our attention follows. So it's again a way of training our attention to see it doesn't fritter away. So now we'll try and put our right hand on our left heart, seat of our spirit. And here we'll pray to our own Kundalini energy. Mother, please come in my heart. Please nourish my spirit. Please establish my self-realization. We'll now conclude by bringing both our hands at the level of our chest. And with this gesture, we'll just thank our spirit for allowing us to feel, experience, listen, and absorb all the divine vibrations through our Sahasrara. Thank you, everyone. So now hand over to Rachita for the remaining part of the session.
Thanks, Uncle Sudipto. And also Ishan, thank you so much. That was a really beautiful meditation. Very simple, very straightforward, guys, which is the way to be, and it's good. And the main aim is just feeling that click, that thoughtlessness on the top of your head, and also feeling that coolness, which we hope a lot of you are feeling now. We know in the first few days or week, few of us few of you did say you couldn't feel it. We hope that has changed. So you can put your feedback and queries here as well. Also, just a quick shout out to Shah that you gave us your number. Can you please tell us in the chat box, confirm if that's an Australian number? I've sent you a message as well. So let's wrap up, guys, in terms of raising our Kundalini and putting on a bandhan, and then we'll move on to our next segment. Thanks a lot, Shah. Thank you. So let's do that, guys. We'll do that together. Okay, just give a moment. Okay, so what we'll now do, guys, is we're going to watch another little interview of Shri Mataji, like we did yesterday, but it'll be like a different one. So she's done many interviews in the course of her life. So we'll watch that, and then we'll touch base after that in terms of any admin things and moving on to our Q&A. So we'll get Vaibhav to set that up for us.
Feel something up in my head, like here and then here and here, then here, and then down here and here, and then it hasn't gone any further than that. Well, this sort of.
You see, if you if you try your own self, you see, trying with the Kundalini, actually sympathetic goes into activity. You have no right on the parasympathetic. Parasympathetic is the one which balances, and that is the central path of Sushumna, through which the Kundalini has to rise. But if you try anything, what you do is always you can use sympathetic. I'll give you an example. Supposing you are running fast, all right? Then you can raise the rate of your heart. But you cannot slow it down. It slows down by itself. That is parasympathetic activity. So you just get into sympathetic activity. And by sympathetic activity, if you overdo it, then all these symptoms happen. And it's not helpful. On the contrary, chakras go into quite, like this is the left and the right sympathetic, and these are the centers. They get pulled down like this. And if they are pulled like this, then you are harmed. So it is not an experience of Kundalini, but is of the sympathetic.
This isn't anything I was looking for or asking for. I didn't even know anything about. I didn't even know what chakras were. But from just sitting still, I would feel these things happen. But I guess they're chakras because they're in the same places. But how come it went down instead of coming up?
No, it doesn't go down. Kundalini never goes down. It goes upward, always. The thing that comes down is the grace, you see. The grace comes down, not the Kundalini. Kundalini always goes upwards. And the grace comes on your sympathetic, which cools you down completely. You become absolutely relaxed with the grace. But the Kundalini itself always goes upward. It never comes down. But in people, it so happens that Kundalini goes through this central path. Now, if it is sort of very much rugged, or if it is extremely smooth due to the mistakes of the seekers, then it falls down. It falls down is a different point than going like that. It falls down. Then you have to raise it again and tie it up. Again raise it and tie it up. In many people it has to be done, but it can work out. You will get the complete knowledge, don't you worry. Now he has been, as he said, 18 months, but he's a master of Kundalini. He can raise your Kundalini, and you are just like him. You will become the same. There's no problem at all.
I'd like to know if having vertebrae in the spine out of place interferes with the rising of the Kundalini.
Does having a vertebrae out of place in the spine interfere with the rising of Kundalini?
It does to some extent, it does. Definitely it does, but we can put it right. The vertebrae can be put right and the Kundalini can be brought in. It does. So many things do happen. If you are a person overread, if you have read too many books and the books are in your head, I have to empty that also.
I actually do this work as a profession, and I find that if the subtle center is fixed, the spinal problems just disappear. I used to have 3 and 4 adjustments a week to correct my spine, and now I have none at all. So first fix the subtle within us, and then the gross part, the spinal misalignments and so on, will just get better. Yes. What is the first step to self-realization?
There is nothing like first, second. It's not a course, see? The Kundalini, it's an awakening within us which takes place, which is like a living process. Alright? So the Kundalini rises and shoots off here. Now some people feel the Kundalini wobbling down there, down below. Some people feel it in the stomach. Some people feel it here. Some people feel it here. But most of them feel it here only, jetting out like cool breeze. So you just can't say what is the first step, depends on how it rises. So everybody doesn't feel the same way. So I can't say that this is the first stage. Alright? Of course, first you feel thoughtlessly aware. You become thoughtlessly aware. First thing that should happen to you when the Kundalini crosses this center. When it comes out of it, you start feeling the cool breeze here, and you start feeling the cool breeze in your hands, and you start feeling the cool breeze around. That's the second stage where it can go. What?
Can anyone be realised without knowing about Kundalini?
Can anyone be realized without knowing about Kundalini?
About mentally need not know much. Can be realized, of course you can be. But then you have to tell them what it is. This thing is better to do that way. But there will be very few who will accept such a situation because they want to know about everything. But they need not know all that. You can little bit say, tell them that there is a way of getting realization. And then it's like this, that when you come to me, you want to have the lights, I'll say, all right, go. There's a switch you put on. And you put on the switch, you get the lights without telling about it. But you would like to know how this light is done. And then that helps you to create other lights. That's why it is important to know about Kundalini. I can do it without telling you anything about Kundalini. I can raise your Kundalini. But you would not know anything about it. And you would not know what it is. It has happened with many who were born realized. They did not know they were realized souls. And they got lost. Like I would say, greatest example, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was a realized soul, and he got lost because he didn't know he was a realized soul. He was a higher personality than others. He got lost. So many got lost like that.
Excuse me, if your Kundalini was arisen and you were that, how could you be lost? I mean, you have it, so how could you be lost?
How can you be lost if the Kundalini has been awakened?
No, it is. Because, you see, it is, you are not yet fully developed, matured person. When you are in an immature state, it does happen. Kundalini, when it rises, you'll be surprised. In some people, it is just a wee bit, just like a hair. It just comes up a little, because it's so difficult, you see. The passage is so blocked. So a little bit comes up. This is what it is. It is a complete realization takes place only when you are nirvikalpa samadhi. That's a higher state. So in the beginning, it just a little wee bit opens up. And 1% people do get lost. They do, because they have egos, they have super egos, all kinds of things. They do get lost. So be careful.
How and where did you receive the power to awaken the Kundalini?
Me.
In us and other people?
How and
where did you receive the ability to awaken the Kundalini in them?
I had it, born with it. One can be born with it. But I realized that to give our mass realization, 7th center has to be open, first of all. That I did on the 5th of May, 1970. And then I realized that with this happening, one can achieve our mass realization. But till that time, I had to understand human beings. So, by my subtle methods, I tried to understand what was their problem, what chakras they had, in trouble, how I have to work out the permutations and combinations in such a way that our mass realization can be achieved. So this our mass realization, I started from that day. Before that, I did not speak about it. Because what's the use of another Bible or another Gita? Better to achieve the results. Unless and until human beings realize that there are higher stories of awareness within them, whatever you may tell them, they are not going to understand. So first it must be done. They have to realize that there are higher awareness states which we have to achieve, which we have achieved. And then they can go further. My father himself was a very great evolved soul. And he told me that those who are born on the 10th story shouldn't talk about it. They should come down and try to raise the people at least to the 1st or 2nd story so they realize there are stories beyond. Because if they just talk about the 10th story, people will think they are crazy or they'll crucify them. They'll never understand. That won't be practical. But it took some time to understand human beings. They are very complicated people. Must say, not easy. What you say?
In your discourse, you referred to the Kundalini as she. Is that because you are a woman?
No, she is. She is the female side. See, she's the Shakti, she's the female side. That's why the quarrel about women and men is all falsehood. There's nothing like that. They exist together. It's like the moon and the moonlight. It's like the sun and the sunlight. It's like the God and the Kundalini. It's like the word and the meaning.
Is it fair to say that the Kundalini energy arises and meets another energy coming from above?
Yeah. It is all-pervading power, all right? Now, when the Kundalini rises, what she does, she enlightens our subtler side of our nerves, our brain and everything. She enlightens. And by that, we start feeling it. It's the enlightenment that we get because of her connection with the all-pervading power. It exists, already it exists. But you cannot feel it normally. When she rises, then your nerves are so enlightened that you can feel it. All right? You might be already getting it. I think so.
Simply say what the dangers are associated with Kundalini meditation.
He's asking about any dangers with Kundalini meditation.
No, not at all. Not at all. She is your mother. She is your individual mother. Who gives you your second birth? She knows everything about you. She has recorded everything and she does it very gently. See, when you were born, your mother took all the pains upon herself, isn't it? And in the same way, this Kundalini does the job. But people are frightened because perhaps maybe they don't want, it's an evil force, I think, those who are frightened against Kundalini because they don't know how to do it. Or maybe they don't want people to achieve their realization. I can't understand. Those people, as I was telling you today, in the 16th century, Guru Nanaka, then Kabira, and all these others, Ramadasa, Tukarama, all of them, nobody has said it's dangerous. On the contrary, Ramadasa was asked, how much time does it take for Kundalini to rise? He used the word in Sanskrit, Tat Kshana, that's the moment, that moment, he said. Tat Kshana, that moment. So, but he said there's a condition. The one who wants should be anxious to have it, and the one who gives should be an authority. Not authority from some university or anything, but authority in spirituality. Yes?
Yes. In activating the Kundalini within the body, can it only be done in the position that's posted on that sheet there, or can it be done standing or in other positions?
What is it?
कुंडलिनी जागरण के लिए बैठना जरूरी है या खड़े होके या किसी और पोजीशन में भी जागृत हो जाएगी?
No. You see, it is all right, you can do it. But why do all that? You have to be comfortably sitting in your chair and you'll get your realization. You don't have to go to Himalayas to stand on your head. It's just simple.
Okay, guys, so hope you all liked that interview. I thought it was really great. There were some really tricky questions that were asked to Shri Mataji, but she answered them really beautifully as well. Especially the one that struck me was if your Kundalini is awakened, why are you still lost? And sometimes I wonder, I think, oh, she's not going to be able to answer that one. But she still gives you something that just makes you satisfied that, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So like she said, like a little wee bit comes up, and we all say that here, only a few strands come up, but we feel the breeze. But to get the aim, I guess, is to sustain and grow stronger, to become that person, I guess, who, you're more detached, forgiving, loving, or trying to cure or get rid of any issues you may have had before, such as, if you've always been a more angry person or more of a low self-esteem person, things like that. So that can sometimes be a journey of life and of growing up in age and maturity to overcome those things, because we're not perfect. Even those who've been practicing for 20, 30 years, we're not perfect. We still have our journey to live as a human being, but we can live that optimal life where we don't have to suffer too much mentally or physically. And like they said, fix up your subtle system and then fix up the gross part. And we can enjoy life really and not have life as a suffering. So we hope you liked that. Another one I really liked was the one where they asked, how did Shri Mataji have this power to give realization? And she just said, I was born with it. And it's like, okay, because it's true that there are people in the world, I guess, who come on this earth with a special purpose or a reason. They have that ability to do something. Like we've had many prophets and saints on this earth. That's how we've had, religions and different movements, things like that. So Shri Mataji is no different, that she is a special soul. And hence she had that knowledge that amalgamated thousands of years of scriptures and holy books and everything into something that's so easy for human beings to understand without having to bury our heads in books all the time. So I can see Karina's giving some great feedback. This basically comes to the wrap of our session for today, guys. So if you have to leave, you can do so. This wraps up the main session. Like we've mentioned, we are doing an Sorry?
Sorry, Prachita.
Yes,
Can you
jump in.
just quick announcement? I've sent some personal messages to some of the participants because I'm just finalizing the list. I just have a few country codes missing. So kindly please check your chat. If I have sent you a message, can you please reply back to me with your number, with your country code?
Yep, so that's what I was going to add, the guys. Thanks for that, Monica, that she's busy in the background collating all that feedback. And the ones who've also replied on Zoom, we passed on the contacts to Monica. So like we mentioned in the beginning, if you wish to join our intermediate series and you haven't expressed your expression of interest, please do so in the chat box or in the WhatsApp group. If you put it in the chat box, do give us your country code just to make sure we have captured it correctly. So add the little plus and the country code. If you're brand new, if you dropped in and you're brand new, again, do share your number as well and let us know that you are new. Otherwise, we will assume you have been coming for a while and put you in the intermediate, which is perfectly fine. I'm sure we'll still figure out a way to train you back to scratch. Like we said, there is our website, so do check out days 1, 2, and 3 if you are completely new, or even if you need to rewatch any of the sessions. So without further ado, we'll take a 2-minute pause. If you need to leave, thank you for joining today, and join us for our last day tomorrow. Another reminder that on Saturday we are doing a workshop. So if you enjoyed last Sunday's workshop, or you missed out the workshop, don't despair. We intend to do them a bit frequently in the coming weeks. So we've got one this Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Sydney time. And I believe that's about it. So 2 minutes break, and then we'll move on to our Q&A session. Okay, so what we might do is, guys, without further ado, we'll move on to our Q&A. So tonight we've got Auntie Jenny, Uncle Yogi, Uncle Sudipto, and Auntie Erin as well, I believe. So we'll bring you guys on stage. So we've got Shamim as well has got a question. Just wanted to keep track. Just FYI, guys, the workshop is on Saturday, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is still day 21. We're basically doing a surprise day 22 because we've just enjoyed this series as much. you should see all the WhatsApping we do, us team behind the scenes. We're like, we're loving this. We don't want this to end. And it's just, everyone's just having so much fun, even the experienced practitioners. So let's go around the grounds. Auntie Jenny, let's start off with, what have you thought of this series so far? What's your thoughts been?
Wow, it has really been incredible, I have to say. I think I've mentioned to some of the team that I've been running programs for probably 20 years now, but these are certainly they've been the most satisfying programs that I've ever been involved in. And I think the ability to be able to meditate with someone on the other side of the world is just incredible. And the way, the depth of meditations that we're able to have, even though we're not in the same room, is mind-blowing. So I have to say that they've been very, very rewarding. And yes, I don't want it to end either, Rachita.
And not to despair, we still have the 21 days intermediate series, so we're not going anywhere, folks. We're still here for another 21 days. Awesome. Auntie Jenny, while I've got you, let's direct this question to you from Shamim, that if I've just got it here, give me one moment.
I had partially answered that to her in a private chat, but yeah, you can put it up again.
Okay, sure. No worries, Uncle. So I'll ask you, Auntie Jenny, that I have a question, that if the Kundalini, it's awakened, and hang on, once awakened, always rises up, then why do we practice the raising? Okay, if the Kundalini has been awakened and it's risen up, why do we still practice every day raising the Kundalini?
All right. So that is a very good question, and it's a very understandable question, especially when you are first starting in Sahaja Yoga. But as we've mentioned before, the Kundalini is made up of millions and millions of strands of energy. And we do this raising of the Kundalini to bring up more strands of energy. And when you've been practicing Sahaja Yoga for a while, you will be able to feel that strength of the Kundalini increasing when you raise your Kundalini. So at the beginning, it's a little bit of an act of faith because you're not feeling it yet. But as you practice more and more, you will see the difference. You will see that your Kundalini will rise, and you will go into meditation as soon as you do this action. And we're all strengthening our Kundalini. Doesn't matter how many years we've been meditating, we're still going through that process of strengthening our Kundalini. So this is one way that we do it.
For sure. And Uncle Yogi, welcome. We've had you for yesterday and today, and I've seen your past meditations as well, that you are very incredibly deep and knowledgeable. So Uncle Yogi, can you tell us a bit about yourself first, of where are you from and how long you've been in Sahaj, and maybe any story to share that kind of ties in with Auntie Jenny in this question of, why do we raise this Kundalini every day?
I've came to Sage Yoga in 1976, based in Delhi. And I had been very curious about Kundalini, but couldn't find anybody to raise it. So when I saw an ad in a newspaper, very small ad, Kundalini Awakening, I immediately rushed to the place, and there was nobody there at that time. And I waited an hour. And then suddenly I thought I might as well leave. I may have got it wrong. And suddenly this car came, and everybody started saying, "Oh, Shri Mataji has come, Shri Mataji has come." So I saw from a very distant, and I felt something rise inside of me. I didn't know it was the Kundalini. So it led me to believe that there is some divine person. And then later, Shri Mataji confirmed that this was the Kundalini, and that got me into Sahaj Yoga, and I stayed. Now, what was the other question you asked?
So just tying back to why do we have to raise the Kundalini every day if we've already awakened it once?
Yes, yes. Well, it's like every day you brush your teeth. So, you'd ask yourself, we brushed it once, why should I brush it twice? Every day we're absorbing all kind of vibrations from the environment, which is clogging our chakras. So every day the body is going through a process of metabolism, catabolism, building new cells, throwing out old cells. So this is a whole process of this human body. And so every day we have to work it out. It's just a thing that we absorb, and then we have to release it. So when we absorb, the Kundalini goes down to that chakra and starts clearing it out. And again, we raise it. So it's a day-to-day thing. But what happens is that the Kundalini gets seated in our sahasrara eventually. And it keeps coming down to clear something or the other. It need not be us. We may have absorbed something from someone else. We may be carrying a block of somebody else in us who we are attached to. So the Kundalini is attending that problem. It can be a collective problem of the country or a society. So the Kundalini is working it through us. So I asked Shri Mataji this question once, that, every day this catch comes, that catch comes, and especially in this place, I get this catch, a particular place had a particular catch. So she said, you're just a guinea pig. So when it works out on you, it'll work out in that whole society that you are in. So this is an evolutionary process, you can say.
That's really nicely said. Thank you, Uncle. That yeah, guys, like I sometimes think the Kundalini as those energy bars when you're playing a game and your character has like that much energy left, and then every time it like hits an obstacle or something, it goes down, 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 down. I think of the Kundalini like that like Uncle said, and everyone, you're living your lives, guys. We're not just sitting in the Himalayas, unfortunately, enjoying the scenery. We're interacting with our kids or adults, people, doing our jobs. So your mind is still being activated. And in that terms, your Kundalini then kind of stops, comes back, stops, comes back, and is working on those chakras, like Uncle said. So your Kundalini, in a way, never sleeps. If you're regularly meditating, it can go down, of course. So those who don't meditate for years, of course, they have their health problems and things come back because it's like we say, you're not brushing your teeth are going to get grotty and bad, and you're going to get cavities and issues, same as your subtle system. So that's why it's
There's
very
one
important.
thing, yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
There is something she added to it, because
yep.
I was getting very tired of these catches in a certain place. Yep. And eventually it focused on a certain person. And yep. I said, Mother, he's a scatterbrain. So she laughed and said, you have to know how to handle scatterbrains also. What kind of a master are you if you can't handle a scatterbrain?
Yeah, that's a good one. And it comes back down to, guys, that how we've said you will I think Rupesh or someone once asked how to deal with the in-laws, and I think we all had a bit of a laugh. So it just comes down to, guys, when you're meditating, even the most difficult situation or person, it could be a boss, it could be a friend or an enemy, who knows, you learn those techniques, like we say, of being your own master, being detached, just smiling, witnessing their drama, and they'll go, oh, why are you being nice to me? And then you just go, I meditate. I have no problem with you. And they will just change. I think, if I'm not wrong, I think Shimaji said once in a talk about how this fellow didn't talk to his uncle for years. Apparently he was like a horrible uncle or something. And then she said, go meet him, he'll be fine. And he did. And he said, hello, uncle, how are you? Gave him a hug. And the uncle's like, what's going on here? Okay. And he transformed, actually. So it's like they say, the power of love and compassion can do miracles. So yeah, that's a good one. Auntie Erin, I know you've been a recent onboard to our journey. First, tell us, how's it been for you so far? Oh, you're just on mute, Auntie. So we'll just get you to unmute yourself. Just pop that on mute.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, all good.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. In all sorts of ways, hearing the other yogis, and the experiences and stories that we all have, and just the number of seekers that have found their way here and enjoyed it and stayed on. That's wonderful. I haven't seen this kind of dynamic since the early days in Sahaja Yoga. So I think for all of us who've been around for a while, it's been a really refreshing piece of enthusiasm in our lives.
For sure.
And yeah, and the combination of technology and all of these wonderful yogis that we have from around the world, and the talent that we have in the musicians and the storytellers and the people who are leading the meditation, it's just beautiful to see it all coming together so that we can deliver Shri Mataji's message to all of the seekers who are really looking for something that's special with a quality, a real quality presentation. So congratulations to all of you, and to you seekers who know when you found a good thing.
That's it. You found something good, hold on to it, guys. So that's it. It's a big round of applause to everyone. I think we'll do all the accolades tomorrow, being the final day of the first part of the series. So, but thank you, Auntie Erin. Auntie Erin, do you want to tell a bit about yourself? Like, where are you based, and what do you do sort of day to day to keep it going?
So I'm based in Mooloolaba in Queensland. My husband and I have retired here, so this is the whole new stage of life for me, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. And day to day, I'm still involved. I have my family here in Queensland, so that's nice. We look after our granddaughter when we can and on school holidays, and we're involved in all those domestic things. And I'm involved in doing some artwork and things that I haven't had time for before, much more Sahaja Yoga than I've had opportunity for when I was working full-time with a family. Doing all the things I've waited for a long time to do, and it's really lovely. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Very good. That's really good. That's really good. And
It
yeah,
is,
catching up on hobbies. That's great. So Auntie Erin, on that note, Abha's raised a question here. She's saying here that so after meditation, when I meditate, everything is all good and I feel good. After meditation in my day routine, most of the time, my past memories, past conditionings and habits trouble me a lot. I feel kind of bad that I can't leave my wrong ideas and perceptions, even though I know the truth now. Is there any advice for this?
Well, your meditations will gradually strengthen and deepen, and you'll find as the Kundalini establishes more and more that you'll finish a hectic bit of work or involvement in all that thinking, and then when you have a moment to breathe, you'll find that the Kundalini comes up and you rest into silence, and that just becomes a bigger and deeper part of your life. So it's not always, it's not always hard and striving. If you do your practices, do your clearing in the evening, then it becomes an effortless process for that to strengthen. Your Kundalini wants to, bless you with this state as long and as often as possible. So if you just, clear the way and give the time, it will take over, and you'll, more and more become established with that. And then, I think we've been talking about miracles in these last few days, a lot of the established Sahaja yogis. So I think, what you can start expecting is, and what will make the difference in your life, is the little humble miracles that, we kind of, that are personal to you and that are part and parcel of you getting to understand what your life is now that you have this connection with the divine. So how can I use this in my everyday life? How can I make things work better and more easily for me? So your thinking changes. Your thinking gets to be about, maybe the divine knows a bit more about this situation than I do. Maybe I can hand this over. So, you learn more of those techniques for building your relationship with the divine, coming to trust it, coming to be more and more empowered by that. And yeah, the whole shape of your thinking and your persona changes to be a more of an instrument for that in your everyday life. And that brings so many satisfying moments and developments in your life and your relationships and the work that you do and all aspects of your life, I think. So look for small miracles. Set yourself up so that you can test out those possibilities and learn more about what this connection means in your life and how it can make it better.
Awesome. No, thank you for that. Just quick moment ad break, not an ad, but I just have a quick shout out for Anil Seth and Tejashree. If you can please personal message your numbers in the chat box, that'll be really good, as we're trying at the moment in the process when putting people in the intermediate group. So yeah, I can see Anil Sethji's camera's on. If you can just please type out your number in the chat box, that'll be great. And Tejashree as well. Please type your number in the chat box. And if any issues, just unmute yourself and you can tell us your number if you like. We'll get the others to block their ears. So, okay, I'll just hope that'll come through. Yes, yes.
I'm Anil Seth from Bombay.
Hello,
Anil,
how are you?
Seth. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, good. Have you been? Yeah.
I'm at the health center right now, Vashi, Bilapur.
Oh, okay. Welcome. So are you you're an experienced Saj Yogi or?
I've been in Saj Yoga since last 31 years.
Oh, 31. Okay, you're very experienced. Okay.
Not
Welcome,
the experience,
Uncle.
but okay. So I just was watching Yogi Ji our time when I came to Saj Yoga. That time I got realization by the grace of Shri Mataji at Mumbai in her presence. After that, I started having some experience. But now I think finally I am realizing that our life is for the Sahaj Yoga. I mean, divine life. It is very, our life motto is divine now. So initially when we start Sahaj Yoga, that time we were having some of our problems like family problem, job problem. But after realizing that these things are not for us, now we have to be very strong on our spirituality. That is the main important thing, I think now, after so many years. So your question was, why every day we have to raise the Kundalini? Your previous question was, why we have to raise every day our Kundalini, right?
Yes,
So
there was
I
a question. Yes, yes.
There was a question, but answer for this, I think so, is that we are we have a problem like left-sided, right-sided. Some are left-sided people, some are right-sided people. So our attention goes to the left or to the right till we are ascent fully in the central channel. Once our attention fully established in the center, then the Kundalini rise very easily. Okay.
Yeah.
So attention, I think, should be on the spirituality. I mean, all the time, what we are feeling, the vibrations, and that is the most important thing we got from Shri Mataji. But we are human beings, like we have all the problem coming from the past life also, or from this life also. So all the time Kundalini we have to raise again. So then my experience is right now is that fully we have to be in the awareness of the vibration. And this is very important because Shri Mataji incarnation is to give the realization, not to give all kind of material thing. But Shri Mataji gives just because we have to come to Sahaj Yoga. That's what I feel. But working on the spirituality all the time, clearing our chakras and the balancing is very important.
Yeah.
And once we are established in knowing that, our attention should be more on the Kundalini and the vibrations. So that's enough. Then we can establish the plane, then take a flight like this.
I love that
Otherwise,
one. Yeah.
Otherwise, it goes down again, left and right. If you want to take the flight, the attention should be in the higher thing, always, always. Not like, chalo, I'll get this thing when, after that I'll, what we call, first preference should be in the spirituality. Nothing important than spirituality, nothing important than this vibrations. That's it. If my vibration is good and very cool, nice, then that means I'm an okay person. I'm spiritually, I have to become a best instrument in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Uncle. That was amazing. And thank you for joining us very spontaneously. Basically, if you want to join us for future sessions, Uncle, you can share your number in the chat box and we will add you to our WhatsApp group and we'll give you updated links. But I think that was beautiful, guys. You got to be the pilot and then take off that flight.
My English is not that fluent. I'm trying
Your
to
English is amazing. So you did really well.
Not very fluent. I'm trying to learn. Maybe I can learn from you and joining with you.
Join our sessions. So we've got many Australians here. We will perfect your English. So that was awesome. Thank you so much, Uncle. I thought you spoke brilliantly. बहुत ही बढ़िया, Uncle. Thank you so much.
Maybe some grammatical mistake. Don't mind.
Completely fine. No, people are praising you. Did really well. So thank you so much again. Okay, so that was a lovely surprise. So I think we've got Tejashri your number as well. And yes, guys, don't announce your number on an audio. My apologies. It can be a bit of a security issue. So thank you for all that. Backtracking to Auntie Erin about the left-sided issue, Abha, don't despair, and others as well. What I would just quickly add is that us being as women, we are more prone to being on the left with our emotional issues, our past, attachments, things like that. Now that you found Sahaj, stick on to it. And like we say, try during the day, anytime you feel disturbed, that Mother, please take away this disturbance. I don't want to be in the past. I just want to be in the center. And say it as many times as you need to say it during that day to train yourself and your mind that, hey, I've got this higher power now in me. I'm not stuck in my mind. But it takes time. It's like learning the piano. You've learned the basics, but you need to practice till you get better. So remind yourself, even as yogis, we tell each other that when we share problems that, hey, just remind yourself, the higher power is there. Just surrender. Pray to the Mother inside of you. Okay, Mother, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I can't handle this. Please help me. I think it ties into Shamim, what she asked about, is prayer enough to establish connection to the divine? Uncle Sudipto, is prayer enough to establish connection with the divine? Do we need to do more? Or
that's an interesting one. I'll perhaps start with a different rationale to what Shamin's first question was, if I may. Now, I think in the past sessions we have talked about what we call as the thoughtless state. Now, initially when Shri Mataji says that when first couple of strands of Kundalini comes up, it gives us an experience of that thoughtless state for maybe a millisecond. So it's a very short span of gap, and between the two cusps of the thoughts, of the thought waves, there is a gap which helps us to be in that thoughtless state. Now, as we practice or raise our Kundalini many times, and through practicing through different ways, as Shri Mataji has taught, we try and elongate that gap between the two thoughts. So between one thought rising and the other thought coming up, there is a gap. And initially, that initial millisecond thought, it just increases and increases. And when I started meditating, it used to be quite interesting, like that class would, it's very difficult to break that cycle, as Shri Mataji has a number of times said, but I guess over practicing it for so many years. I'm fortunate enough to prolong that gap. And at times it's just spontaneously it happens. So I think to address Shamim's first question, that's why you need to keep raising Kundalini and try and see if you can actually elongate that gap. And it's quite counterintuitive to think that you're not thinking, but you're doing things, because it is not you who are doing things, but it is actually divine who makes us do things. So once we get to that kind of an understanding, then we surrender, as some of the chats in the boxes you would find that they're talking about. So as you go through these motions, then you'll realize that that's how it works. Now, when it comes to prayers, yes, prayers are one of the techniques or tools. As you can see, like there are a couple of physical techniques, which includes foot soak, ice packs, this, that, candling, whole bunch of what you can say, like a whole bunch of treatments. It's like you can say there's the Sahaj medicines, and then there are the prayers which are through the Vishuddhi chakra, through your heart, through your different chakras. You kind of integrate them and then present it to your Kundalini and your Holy Mother. And yes, it's one of the ways to actually establish that. It helps to calm yourself down. And if you are capable, if you have the musical qualities, and if your prayers are at a different frequency which addresses the different issues of the chakras, it can actually cure some of the imbalances in the chakras and establish your self-realization pretty much like that. So yes, it is a pretty powerful tool. It though has to be from the heart.
And actually, I apologize, Shamim, I misread the question. Sorry, it was more about can prayers help establish the connection with the divine? If so, why do we need Kundalini awakening? My apologies, I misread the question.
Yeah, so that's why I thought I'd come back to it first and then address her question back to Francois.
Yeah, sorry. So, actually, Auntie Jenny, did you want to jump in?
I just wanted to add that when we have our Kundalini awakening, we are, as Shri Mataji says, we are connected to the mains. So when we have our Kundalini awakening and we say those prayers are much more powerful because they go directly to the divine. If we don't have that connection through our Kundalini awakening, our prayers do not go directly there. So certainly prayers are very powerful, but they are at their most powerful when you have your Kundalini awakened first.
For sure. And I think what I'd add is that, for example, I know my granddad, or some people around you all may know, who are like the loveliest human beings ever. They're just so sweet and they're just born like that. And you tell them about Sahaj, that we meditate, and they go, why do I need it? I'm already connected with God. They're like, okay, cool. So some people I think are like that maybe some, like Shri Mataji said, we're all born as a different human, different purpose. And there'll be those, like I know some yogis from Brisbane told us from childhood, like Uncle Edwin, they knew going to the church was a bit false. They never felt the joy, the peace. So they kept praying their whole life that, God, tell us who we are, seeking, you could say. And so that prayer then leads them to get their self-realization, fortunately, because then they go, this is what I was looking for. But some people, they can go by with life, I feel, just genuinely praying. They have that connection already, but they don't really do the meditation because maybe that's just the way they are. And I'm sure you can all think of some people in your mind that you can tell them all about Saj Yoga and whatnot, and they'll just go, no, we're good. So we just go, yeah, they're born realized, probably. But Uncle Yogi, actually, do you want to add to that? That why can't we just pray for the divine connection? Why do we need this Kundalini awakening?
There is a quote from Shakespeare, and he said, my words fly up, my thoughts remain low. Words without thought do not heaven go. So unless until you feel the connection on your central nervous system, then it doesn't work, because everything that we've experienced in our evolution is registered on our central nervous system. So if we are praying without that awareness is like a shot in the dark. So like I desire something. So I pray to God who I don't know anything about, who I've never seen, who is a concept. Oh God, please give me this. I pray to you fervently, day and night. But if I get it, great, God has given it to me, God is great. If I don't get it, then I blame God, you've deserted me, you've forgotten me, I've done so much for Sage Yoga, Shri Mataji, and I didn't get what I wanted. So this prayer is a very tricky thing. And somewhere Shri Mataji mentioned that if you are connected, Yoga Kshema Vahamyam, the words from Gita, then even before you ask, it is delivered. Even before you recite your prayer, your desire is fulfilled. So a stage comes, you don't have to pray for it. Look at it the other way. Something that Shimaji mentioned to me, she said that you have to stand with me and look at the world. Then you are only giving blessings because you have nothing to ask. I'm with you, you're with me, you are looking at the world through my eyes and giving love to the world. So the one who gives, what has he to ask? He has nothing to ask. So you have to become the giver. You have to stand with her. And that love which is coming from her, you express it, what can I do for others? You're always thinking, how can I do something for so-and-so? So if you are always thinking what you can do for others, you have nothing to ask. You have nothing to pray for. You are just in joy. You're always in joy with her. So you are in that state of joy. There's nothing to pray, there's nothing to ask. If at all, pray for others.
Love that. I really love that. And I think, guys, as you meditate more, you find your desires, goals may also start changing because your intuition and your vibrations start guiding you. So maybe you're someone who is like, oh man, my only aim in life is to be rich and have the best car.
You're satisfied. You're satisfied within you.
Yes. Yeah.
So if you're satisfied within you, what is there to ask somebody else for it? Even God, nothing to ask.
For sure. So prayer is good, but your meditation guides you what to pray. And one of the affirmations we use actually for the second energy center on the left side is actually, Mother, please give me pure desires, remove impure desires. So it starts shaping your life as well. And like Uncle said, when your attention's always on, how to help others and give to others, which I think majority are, because I can see you guys are such a lovely bunch of people helping each other on WhatsApp, helping us, even our yogi team just jump in and help. We find that joy, hey, that you get the most joy when you give and help, and you just want to keep sustaining that. So like he said, if your attention's always on, even now, I think collectively the whole world right now is, oh God, please help Taliban. Don't help Taliban, sorry. Help Afghanistan. Help Afghanistan, help the innocent, and, get rid of the Taliban. And it's just amazing, you'll find when the whole world's attention is on one thing, it can really resolve very quickly, and things can get better. But
you
of
can
course,
look
we
at,
also...
you can look at it another way.
Yes.
That we say the divine is doing everything. So divine is resolving everything. So if it's all happening in the collective consciousness, each individual, each society, each country is going through the same process. So let's say that Afghanistan is going through its own process of evolution, where it has to mature, it has to grow from its grassroots level, it has to develop and open its Muladhara chakra. It has to go step by step. But if we step in and say, okay, we are going to raise you to the Sahasrara with nothing below. So where there are no chakras to sustain the sestra, the whole sestra collapse. This is what happened to Afghanistan. The world stepped in to help it against the Taliban, but they never built the infrastructure, the chakras to support it. It has to come from the people. You can't superimpose. The West, the America cannot superimpose on America anything, on Afghanistan anything. The people themselves have to grow. They have to imbibe. And if they don't, and they just want to be dependent on the others, then one fine day, the house of cards collapses. And that's exactly what happened in Afghanistan. We don't have to blame anybody for it. It is, again, they have to grow. That's all.
Wow. I love that. Wow. Auntie Jenny, do you want to add to that? Like, wow.
Can you add to that?
I know. What can you add to that? I'm just applauding here. Like, wow, Uncle Yogi. Wow. That was,
because I've been following the events very closely with Afghanistan. It's very dear to us in India.
Yeah.
But I always also followed, rather questioned Shri Mataji very often when certain collectivities collapsed, when despite her hard work, going again to a country or to a place, it didn't work out. So to quote, when she went to America and she kept going, and we only had a handful in the first few years. The whole of Australia came to help. Still, we didn't work. From maybe 100, it grew to 150. And in over the years, with all the world attention, maybe 200. So I asked her that, we put in so much effort, we've done everything. So she said, you have, but they have to establish their chakras. And she said, my greatest problem is that I cannot establish the Mooladhara chakra of America. I have tried and tried to establish the Ganesh Tattva, but I haven't succeeded yet. Of course, it has to happen, but the way America is growing to the opposite direction with their whole attitude towards sex, it's going in totally the opposite direction. So even though Sage Yogis are working hard, they are trying, it's going very slow. And maybe it's just their presence that's holding America together before the whole society collapses.
Wow, that's very well said. That is just amazing. That, yeah, guys, I think at the end of the day, it's like we want to pray when someone, even near you, let's go on a micro level, like a friend comes to you and is whinging about their life, they're super upset, and naturally some of us feel bad and we pray that, I hope they come out of this situation. But I think as Saj Yogis or as people, yeah, we have to realize we can't hamper their growth because they're also like a tree blooming and we're saying, hey, let's make them a flower already. But like Uncle said, where is the foundation that they're just going to collapse again if they get all the fruits of life without going through it?
My question to Shri Mataji was always to know more. I was always curious to know more. And she said, you won't be able to absorb it. If I tell you the whole of Sage Yoga, in one day, you will not be able to absorb it. So step by step, she led us like children, holding our hand and saying, this is A, this is B, this is C. So we learned A, B, C, D over many years. And still we are at A. If you ask me, I will say I know nothing about Sage Yoga.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah.
But she said, if I give you all the knowledge and you're not able to absorb it, it will backfire. So she took it very slow. There was all the entertainment, there was all the laughter, there was all the tours, everything, so that she prepares the soil and then she puts in a seed. Then next year, a little more. It was a very slow growth, but it gave us time to our roots to grow a little more deep, so we can take a little more. It was an organic process, you can say. Similarly, with the new groups you have. I was very impressed how you're going through it very slowly, very gently, letting them absorb a little and then saying the next thing. And you're not rushing to give them all the knowledge of Sage. And that's why it's blooming. So thank you very much. I hope your efforts go a long way. You've got it right.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And it just goes back to that, guys, like your roots have to solidify so that a solid tree can grow. And likewise, just going back to summarize quickly that as much as we want to pray for good things or Afghanistan to resolve, they have to go through that evolutionary process. So what I just want to say is, now that you've got this fresh perspective, when you watch the news or you're dealing with depressing or sad or not ideal situations around you, remember to take that step back, watch the drama, don't get involved, don't let your left side get influenced, and just remember that the divine does everything for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I used to debate with that a notion a lot that, no, why did crusades happen? Why did the Holocaust happen? This and that. And Shri Mataji in talks would answer those things, that these had to happen for a certain reason. And then you go, wow, okay, even some horrific things, you know, we may think is horrific, is like they say, there's always a silver lining in everything that's supposedly bad. So, yeah, just a piece of advice there, people, that take it all as a drama.
But always stay positive.
Sorry, yeah,
Can I ask
Yogi,
a
and then I
question?
think, is that Rupesh or?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, yep.
Yeah, one question to just because if there is some situation where you have found a person that whenever he comes in your life, or that particular individual, he comes in your life, or you get connected to him via any means, direct, personally, or through phone, or by any media. So there are big drawbacks or faults that have happened in your life, and suddenly such a person comes in your life again, or you get connected. Maybe there is a fear behind in your mind that yes, such difficult situations may arise again in my life, because not because he has done something, but because just being with him, or having a chat with him, or having some time with him has created a very difficult time automatically. He is not actually involved in that particular activity, but that has affected the life. In such situation, if that person comes again, so, or if you cannot avoid such a person who has come again, then how to handle such a situation, and is there any remedy for it? And this is one thing. And second thing, yeah, that is the most important question. Second question I might ask later, but this is how to get rid of, how to get rid of the effects. Person you cannot get rid because he is there, he will come, but effects that are there, the cause and the effect, how to get rid of this situation, this particularly.
Auntie Erin, do you want to jump in? What do you do when maybe a sort of a negative or a passively negative person comes back in life? What should we do?
Well, as you develop your knowledge in Sahaja Yoga, there's all sorts of techniques to assist other people to grow and develop, evolve. But I think in the first instance, people are coming into your life for a purpose, either for yourself or for others, or for yourself or for them, or for both of you, generally probably for both of you. So accept that there is something for you to learn here. I mean, Shri Mataji talks about I'm not sure when I saw it, how long ago I saw it. It might have been one of the talks that you played of Shri Mataji's, where she was saying, you know, learn to enjoy everything. You know, if you're with a boring person, enjoy it. You know, be amused. How good are they at being boring, and what are these things that they're doing that are so boring? Be interested and enjoy it, and decide I will never be so boring. You know, And I think, you know, in any situation, if we can detach from it, there's things to be learned, there's things to enjoy, there's something that you can contribute to that person. You know, there's a reason why they are as they are. And then if, you know, there's no purpose to be served, you'll find that that will move out of your life, it will move out of the way. I think one of the things that you find after you have your spiritual connection is that things that have bothered you in the past, or people who've been a problem in the past, people who aren't adding much value to your life without you doing anything or hurting anyone's feelings, they just tend to gravitate away. You have a different vibration, you're attracting a different sort of person and a different sort of life now. So be patient, step back, look for how you can enjoy it, is my advice.
That's it. And I think what I'll just quickly add, it ties into what Karina just asked. So I'm sorry, I'm going to power through, guys. We've got like 2 more questions. Karina also asked something similar, that feeling good in a meditation, and then bang, you receive a text from someone maybe not so fond of or don't like, and the resentment or the anger comes back. Now, you guys need to remember, you are now evolved or changed in a way. It's like you've had a second birth. Shri Mataji usually says that you're discovering yourself now in a new way. So when these unpleasant people do come in life, the first step is, of course, we get fear because we don't want to suffer what we had before. But you have grown and you've got wisdom now that I got hurt last time. Well, hang on, I'm going to take a step back. So in your meditations, just pray to your mother Kundalini or the divine that, oh, divine, help me to address or tackle this person in the way you want me to. Teach me
You can
the
also,
behavior.
you can add to that I am with Shri Mataji, she's protecting me, so why am I worried?
Yes, that why the fear when the divine is looking after you. And also just pray that, okay, I forgive. Okay, it's not easy to forgive, I know, but just say, okay, I forgive, because then you lessen your burdens and tensions, and you're being the higher person in a way. And just pray that, you know, Mother, I hope this person also gets their enlightenment or turns a new leaf and becomes a better person. Auntie Jenny, do you want to add to that for Rupesh and Karina about unpleasant folks?
Yeah, I think that everything that happens to us is for our own growth. And some of those things are really pleasant. We enjoy them. And some of those things are really difficult. And if we didn't have those difficulties, we wouldn't strive to rise above them. So often you'll find, and I notice it with me, I might find, oh, I'm getting really good at forgiving. And then something will happen, and then it'll teach me that I'm not as good at forgiving as I think I am. So it will help me to see myself and how I need to continue to grow. And it sometimes happens even more when we meditate, because it makes us strive to grow, and that is our purpose. It's the purpose of our meditation, it's the purpose of our life. So you'll find these things come, and yes, maybe the first time we fail, but that doesn't mean that we give up. We just say, all right, so this time I didn't handle that person that well, but next time I'm going to do that. So we just have to keep trying. We remain in that witness power and just keep trying to stay in the center regardless of what happens.
And
Jenny,
no matter what life,
what Jenny just said, I'll just add to that, like she said, you have to face it. But if you try to escape it, then that situation will arise again in another context and make you face it, because you have to grow out of it.
Yes, and it was like the seeker who said that person keeps coming back into their life. And it's because whatever you were supposed to overcome the first time that person was in your life, you didn't rise above. So the divine is giving you another opportunity. So it's really a divine opportunity to rise above. Even though it feels very difficult at the time, it's a blessing.
For
Can I
sure.
just
Love that.
add
Uncle
something?
Sidikto, yes,
Yeah,
jump
I
in.
just suggest maybe as I mentioned also in the text that maybe putting a bandhan. That's quite a powerful tool. So try that. And often what I've noticed is that when some people get attracted to a sahajogi, perhaps it's difficult for a yogi to understand, but there again, I think someone mentioned in that there again, they are striving to make their life better. So it is their journey, and they somehow feel that connection to you where they're trying to improve their life. So they may not realize, or we as yogis may not realize that that's what the main purpose is. But sometimes those two people are brought together in a certain circumstance because there is a larger purpose which may not be understand. But if you put bandhan around it, it will work out in a way in which, again, it's not what we as individuals want, but maybe what mother wants. We put it again to her, and she might be able to, and she always solves it in the way that she wants it. So that might be a way to leave it at her, in her attention, and let it work out.
For sure. That at the end of the day, guys, we don't know what the higher power has in store for us. So, you might be someone that thought you'd be, I don't know, you had this best job at this stage in life, or you'd be married with
Why
kids,
think
or
about
you
it?
thought this. So yes.
Why think about it?
Yeah. Yeah. And so you just don't know what the divine has in store for you, or why. Yeah, life throws hurdles at you or tornadoes at you. But take it a step back. It's a learning process, and your Saj Yoga techniques will always help you overcome anything, because hey, it's human life, guys. You're not gonna just die or waddle away really quickly. You're here to live a journey that's your own journey, and the divine will sustain you through. So Rupesh, did that help your question? I hope you're feeling more empowered to tackle with this
Yeah.
person.
Yes.
Oh,
Very nice.
awesome.
Yeah, I will try this.
Yeah, keep praying. So no need to get any punches or anything. We're Saj yogis now. So we're the subtle people. We pray from back, even though you might be praying like, I hope this person horrible things happen. No, don't pray that.
For
But
you,
just pray
it's
whatever's
an
right.
experiment like that, Rupesh. So once you experiment, it will strengthen your belief in Sahaj.
Yeah, that's it. So just pray to the divine to look after him and you, and to tackle the situation. Rupesh, did you want to ask your second question now? You had a second question or something?
Second question was not a question, but it was a feeling. Like when I was listening to this story of Afghanistan, and beautiful thought given by the uncle. So I felt like that some days before, maybe 21 days or 20 days before, many of us here were like Afghanistan. We were falling down, and we didn't know what we are doing. We didn't know we were wrong or we were right, but we were doing it. But yeah, so now because of this particular path, maybe we are trying to grow. So same thing happens with Afghanistan. Some power like this helps it. That is what a thought came like that. So that was just sharing.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, guys, when you meditate now, you'll find the things that may have disturbed you before you came to Saj Yoga may not disturb you as much now. And that's just the power of your intuition, the vibrations, the Mother Kundalini in you that's guiding you what is truth and what's false. Because we do live in a world full of lies at times, constantly bombarded by media, ads, social media. And so we need this discretion in us to guide us that, okay, what's right and wrong for me. So thank you for sharing that, Rupesh. And I hope you're all feeling a bit more relaxed after Uncle Yogi gave a very nice perspective on Afghanistan, but also, I guess, any world problem or dilemma that we hear about. Let's ask this last question. I'm going to direct it to Uncle Sidipto, and then maybe Uncle, you can do a final meditation with all of us. That someone has asked here that I work in IT, and I'm often forced to adhere to deadlines, which end up giving me stress and eventually IBS. What's the solution?
Well.
Change your job. No, I'm kidding.
It's a look. I mean, you can try a lot of things on a physical plane, but again, I'd suggest the best way to go about is what I was telling at the beginning. Like, if you can somehow try and elongate the experience of your thoughtless state, and if you can actually keep working in that state, it can actually, you'd be amazed how your efficiency increases, because what you might otherwise, when your mind is bombarded with lots of thoughts, you might take an hour to do, but if you're in a thoughtless state, it's amazing. I don't take my word for it again. I won't ask you to do that, but experiment with yourself. I've done it with myself plenty of times and I was amazed. So do that, and once you expand your capacity to be in that thoughtless state, and whatever you can achieve within that short span, it's just amazing. So that will, and that's normally what your supervisors or your other people around the world don't expect it to happen in that kind of a time frame. So it suddenly you'll find that what would have taken perhaps days to resolve would get solved in no time. And I remember, I think when one of the early sessions, Rajesh from Germany did mention about, because he also works in IT, and normally he would have pages and pages of codes, and it's difficult to kind of find out a flaw within that code easily. But if you are in that thoughtless state, for some reason you will be pointed to the exact problem and you would solve that, which otherwise might take a whole week to resolve. So it's a difficult proposition. I mean, normally what we speak about in Sahaj, these things are not very normal things. It's not what happens in our daily life, but it has happened, it does happen, and it will happen to you. So have that faith. Most importantly, as we always keep on harping the same thing, try and meditate and be in that thoughtless state. Once you experience that and somehow manage to grow in your meditation, rest, everything is looked after. So, and I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, even in my life, daily life, I experience that. So it's just amazing. So I'll reassure you that it will work out in your life. Just give yourself a bit of time. Don't kind of judge yourself that you're no good or anything like that. It's difficult not to condemn yourself. So be patient with yourself, have that faith, and be positive. It will work out.
For sure. I think this was one of our YouTube viewers, so I hope you're still there. The other thing I just add, guys, that I'm sure we all have high pressure jobs where we have deadlines and whatnot. So your cool water foot soaks, your ice packs can tremendously help you, because things like IBS and all that are related to your stomach, intestines, liver. It's all those organs around the second, third energy center. So especially if you are in a high pressure situation and you're at home, go grab a foot soak bucket, dip your feet in, and keep working on the laptop, and you will find it just cools you down. Put an ice pack on if you can't get the bucket, and just pray, like Uncle said. Okay, Mother, you help me with this project or deadline. I don't know what to do, or you guide me. And it's really amazing, like he said, that when you're working and now you've got this realized awareness, you get directed to things that bring to your attention. Like, you start realizing or filtering things that are unnecessary or mundane in your work, and you just target whatever is needed. And trust me, you'll become like this high performing employee. Your bosses will be like, whoa, how'd you do that? Or how'd you find this so quick, or do this so quick? You just say, I just meditate, because your attention is up here, not in the brain, and you're not stuck on the struggle. And the divine gives you that inspiration, guidance, and intuition as well. Uncle Yogi, do you want to add to that something further?
Well, Subroto put it very well, that you have to keep with that space between the thoughts. The only thing is that you have to be mindful all the time, Mother, you are doing it. So the doer in you slowly fades away. And then you don't feel so responsible that what you have done, nor do you feel the sense of achievement that I have done it. So then the pressure on the right side is not there. The pressure comes from the ego. The ego has to win, the ego has to perform, show results. So the pressure is there. But if you reach the neutral state, zero state, that I'm not doing anything, I'm not the doer, then the pressure is not there. So the anxiety, as you explained in the second and third center, is less. And slowly, 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 you're not there anyway. So that's another way of looking at it.
Wonderfully said. Auntie Erin, would you like to add anything to that? Or?
Yeah, so this is where I was talking about, this is the territory of small, humble miracles. Here's your opportunity to test out what you can do with this connection that you have. Do you know more about programming than the divine? Check it out. Look at how you can be guided by your vibrations in your everyday work, in the decisions that you're making, those kind of things. And it won't be something you can explain very well to anybody else, but it will start to help you understand more and more about how you really aren't the doer. Or, what you can do is get in the way of that flow, get in the way of that working well. But when it's working, it's that inspiration, you're bringing that through and channeling that when you're at your most efficient. The whole thing about professional satori, that state where when we're the master of something, we're so good at it. I mean, in music or in artwork or even driving a car, we know that the thinking doesn't go into it anymore. But when we're just not thinking, channeling our expertise, drawing inspiration, people are people, whether they have their realization or not, experience a feeling of enjoyment and even bliss. So I think, that's open to us even more now with this connection, to bring it to our everyday life. And then, IT or whatever our job is can be really enchanting and fulfilling and invigorating. So you don't have to be exhausted at the end of a long day.
That's it. Just enjoy the ride, guys. It's like we say, enjoy the drama, enjoy the ride, and see what miracles come even on a daily basis, even if it's something minute. Like I remember one of my Sad Yogi friends was like saying how she miraculously found this car park in a very busy place. I was like, great, okay. So even it might seem trivial, guys, you'll find little things in life tends to get better. And also, like you said, let the flow happen. Like think of yourself like a flute, and the divine's, pushing it through, and the 7 holes are your chakras. So the more you put your mind in it and you go, I can do this, you're blocking it. But then eventually you might reach a point that, okay, God, you do this, I can't. So you let that flow come in you. But we're like kids, guys, okay? We're growing up. We're going to be stubborn at times and say, I can do this, it's my ego and whatnot. And we still have it, even as experienced practitioners. But then gradually life does teach you to be humble, back in the center, that actually, no, there is a divine power. It's not me. So yeah, it really humbles you and keeps you going, because as we know, guys, the ego is very destructive. It can lead to downfalls, but that doesn't mean don't be afraid of your ego. Just be aware of it and know that, okay, like, a lot of people praise me that, Rachita, you're such a fun MC. And I'm like, thank you. And they keep saying it and saying, I'm like, yeah, I'm so good. But then you step back, you take a break, you watch and you go, okay, yep, but how did I become like this? Did I really study for this? Did I train for this? No, it must be a divine gift that just comes, that I love to naturally talk and, be funny. So it's a blessing, but remember, blessings can be withdrawn. So we have to be careful in life to not get overboard, right-sided or left-sided. But like Shah says, in war of ego, the loser is the winner. Nice. I like it. That's Auntie Jenny, do you want to answer this?
Life,
Yes.
I'm saying that's what adds spice to life, and we need a bit of spice in otherwise a boring life.
That's right. We need spice in life, guys. I'm still learning how to deal with the boring people. So I love that Auntie Erin that just watch them and go, hey, I'm not going to be like you. So no, everyone's got their beauties and traits. Last question for Auntie Jenny, then we'll do the wrap up. If you constantly feel the need to please people, what do we do?
Yes, this is again, this is a very common thing for especially women. It's a very common thing. They feel that their role is to please others. it's also quite a left-sided thing, so that we feel that we are not worthy unless we are saying yes to others, or we feel that no one will like us unless we say yes to others. So if you were, there's a number of ways you could approach it. You could do it with Sahaj techniques, work on your left side, strengthen your left side so that you develop that self-esteem to realize that even if you say you please yourself before others, you will still be a loved person. You will be loved by yourself. The other thing you can do is try to please yourself first. See what happens in your life. See how you feel. See how others react. It's all an experiment. See, break out of your patterns that perhaps you've learned all through your life, your conditionings, what you need to do. Try to rise above and see how your life changes.
Nicely said, Auntie Jen. Uncle Yogi, you want to add to that?
This is a very interesting point of view. Even as sage yogis, not only women, even men, there were many situations in sage yoga, in organization, in doing public programs where we needed to please somebody or we wanted to please somebody. So in one situation, Shri Mataji was annoyed, and I tried to explain to her that I had to please that person to get this done or something like that. And she said, who is it more important to please, them or to me? So that got me into it, that I only have to please my mother. And that one sentence from her finished the whole thing about trying to please others. If she's pleased, the whole world is pleased. And that stands for me even today. I'm not thinking of anybody, I'm just trying to think of how to please her. And that pleases everybody.
For sure. That very nicely said. And I think it goes out to all of us folks that so pleasing comes back to your left Vishuddhi, guys. It's your guilt and your center of self-esteem. So if you find you are someone that's constantly being a pleaser, feeling then guilty for maybe saying no to someone or things like that, work on this center, pray to your mother Kundalini, mother, give me good self-esteem, take away any unnecessary guilt I collect, and you'll get that as you grow gradually. And also just like Uncle Auntie Jenny and Uncle Yogi said, at the end of the day, which I find I'm learning too, is put yourself first. You're important as well, and please yourself. That are you feeling happy and joyful when you say yes to that person? Do you feel more at peace when you actually say no to someone because you go, thank gosh, I avoided another disaster situation, like we come back to unhelpful people in our life or unpleasant people in our life. You have to learn to take that stand and go, no, this is not good for me, I'm not going to do it. And I feel as human beings sometimes that I think we teach our kids a lot that no, help people, be nice, do this, but we don't teach them that say no firmly. And this is why unfortunately we get things like bullies, or probably even bullies as adults. There are people who do intimidate us or hurt us, and we have to be strong that there's no harm in saying no and saying, I don't want this, I don't want to do this. And you'll find that pleasing will go, and your attention or your vibrations will guide you who you do have to please, which Uncle says, end of the day, it's this divine power that, okay, divine, you guide me on what's right for me, what's right for the world. And yeah, you'll be on the right path then. But it's all a learning, I will just say. So okay, let's do some closing comments. Uncle Siddhartha,
I was just about to say this. There's a litmus test comment for that. Like, just ask yourself: is this action of mine going to be benevolent for my spiritual ascent? Which then ties back to what Uncle Yogi says. Like Shri Mataji's main and only, perhaps, or one of the major things would be our spiritual ascent. So if it is, she will be pleased if our spiritual ascent is happening. So if our actions are aligned with our spiritual ascent, that's what is perhaps going to be one of the things that will please her. I'm not saying I don't have the understanding of what is the whole gamut of things, but one of the things that she always teaches us is to make sure that, yeah, the spiritual ascent is the first thing which is placed above everything. So if our individual spiritual ascent is put first, rest of it works out.
For sure. And Auntie Erin, do you want to add anything to that?
I've just put myself on mute.
That's all right.
I think that was all very nicely covered. You know, there's two sides to it. It is a lot about how balanced we are, but you know, there's also that side of things where Shri Mataji talks about, you know, collecting sweet things to say to people, you know. So there's the extent to which we do, you know, I guess we really want this our communications with people to be as diplomatic and sweet as they can be, and have them serve that purpose of collectivity and spiritual ascent. So I guess it's the whole package, isn't it, really? There is a place for that sweetness. It should certainly be in our toolbox. It should be one of our skills and our instincts, but then how to use it and when to use it effectively is just as important. And you've all covered that beautifully, I think.
Oh, wonderfully added as well. Very, very nice, guys. Auntie Jenny, lucky last, anything else to add? Or
No, I think it was all very well said. As Sudipto said, it comes down to our spirit. What is the best thing for us? And so, yes, sometimes it is pleasing other people, and sometimes it is pleasing ourselves, and through pleasing ourselves, we are pleasing the divine. So, yes. And
very
it all
nice.
comes down to our discrimination. What is the best thing for us to do in this moment?
For sure. And every moment, like we said, guys, don't hesitate to tap into that power and ask for that guidance. And like I've got this quote on my wall here, which reassures me at times when I feel a bit like lonely or sad, or like, oh, my friends are useless, they can't, you know, counsel me or help me. That Shri Mataji has said that the greatest friend you have is the divine power, which is looking after you and doing everything for you. So remember that, guys, that you're not alone. You've got this whole community here, but you have this divine power as well. So tap into that. I think on that note, guys, what we're going to do is, it's been such a fantastic panel. Interesting questions, everyone. Thank you for the questions as well. I think we've heard so many great pieces of advice and stories, which has been amazing. And I could sit here hours listening to everyone's stories, even more, but we are restrained for time. So what we'll do is quickly is
21st day to go.
What was that, sorry? Say that again. What?
If we keep carrying on, we'll just run into the 21st day.
Pretty much. I mean, there's only like half an hour left till day 21 starts. It's almost midnight here in Brisbane, in Australia. So we could probably carry forward to day 21, but no, we won't do that. But what we'll do is, guys, is one little thing I'll add is I think you guys are probably ready to kind of learn this little technique that Uncle Sudipto mentioned of putting on a bandhan. And now this is not your bandhan that we're talking about. This is another little thing that we like to use when you have things like tricky people, tricky situations, something you just don't know how to deal with and you want to kind of surrender it. So what you do is, guys, is you take your left hand, you take your right index finger like a pen, and you can all copy me like this. And whatever the issue is that is bothering you, so Rupesh, whether it's that guy, Karina mentioned her ex, anyone, anything, you write that issue down on your hand at that moment. So as if it's a pen, you write it down. So for example, let's take Afghanistan as an example. If you can't think of anything personal, I want you all to try this. Either write a personal thing, or if you can't think of anything, just write Afghanistan. So we'll give everyone a moment. Write it on your hand, not literally with a pen, just with your finger. And then around your hand in a clockwise direction, don't touch your hand, but slowly do 7 circles like we vibrate our foot soak water. Just do 7 circles around that. And if you just close your eyes, and while you're doing these circles, you will feel amazingly either a cool or a warm breeze according to that issue or problem, person, whatever it is. Just take a moment. If it's cool, it generally means it's okay. It's going to work out. It's fine. If it's warm, it just means something's wrong here, not too good, but it will resolve on its own. And then after you've done that, you just swipe it off like as if you're erasing a slate. Done. You surrendered your problem. So I really suggest try incorporate that little technique. It's just a form of surrendering, because sometimes our mind just can't accept that, oh yeah, I've just said to the divine, okay, I'm surrendering this problem. But your mind keeps playing. It's like, nah, the problem's still there. So by doing something physical, your mind then goes, okay, I finally have done something a bit more on a physical level to let it go. And the vibrations actually guide you. So it can even be things like decisions in your life that, you know, should I go for this new job? And you're not sure. So you can meditate and ask your Mother Kundalini and see the vibrations. Or you can write it on your hand, take a moment, check the vibrations, and coolness usually means tick, good, go ahead. Warmth usually means, not such a good decision. But that doesn't mean don't use this technique to find the next lotto ticket. We don't want to use it for wrong reasons. So, but Uncle Yogi, do you want to add a bit more about this little Bandhan technique for our folks?
No, I think you explained it perfectly.
Oh, very good.
The only thing I remember Shri Mataji telling us, there was a problem and she said, give bandhans. And then after, say, a few minutes, we stopped doing it. So she said, why have you stopped? So we had no explanation. So she asked, was it cool? I said, no. She said, then go on giving till it cools down.
That's a good one. I've heard of that. Yeah, Uncle Sudipta, I think you had.
I was about to say, while doing so, try and see if you can keep your attention on your sastra or above. Like, don't attach yourself with the problem, because again, the whole purpose of this is to detach yourself from the problem and leave it to Shri Mataji to sort it out, because again, she knows what needs to be done and when needs to be done and all of that. Just the instruments. So just make sure that you're not kind of putting your attention and kind of going on and on, but just as your Uncle Yogi was mentioning, that give it abandon until such time it comes out cool, and then you know that it is in Mother's attention and it will get sorted out in the best way that she wants. Again, it's like what she wants it to happen or how she wants it to get resolved, that will happen, not necessarily what as individuals or great leaders of the world wants. It may not align with their perception, but it's how Shri Mataji wants it to get resolved.
For sure. I just had this funny image of, if you do encounter someone unpleasant and you're just standing there like, oh, and they're like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm giving you a abundance. So you can really use it anyway.
Really handy, because you can actually do bandhans with your attention also, like going in the meditation guided session, that you could use your attention in different ways and it moves. So you can do that also.
For sure. And even I do it sometimes. I'm just remembering now in the office, sometimes, when we're in this conflict or in a meeting, maybe something's bad's going on and you feel a bit upset, like, oh gosh, under the table, I'll just go, okay, Mother, look after them and just give up bandhan. Sometimes it's really amazing. The effect just happens so quick that you just pray that I just want it to be okay. So yeah, just give it a shot, guys, as a little new technique of giving a bandhan. So it's not raising or putting on a bandhan, it's giving a bandhan. You're just doing this little technique. Any closing words, Auntie Jen, in relation to that? Or
I have a very short story.
Yes,
I won't
go
keep
ahead.
you too long.
No, go ahead.
A very short story about the bandhan. That I have a couple. I've got to pick my best one. All right.
Okay.
So,
no worries.
So I'll just tell one. That I remember a few years ago, my son called me up and he said, "Oh, Mum, I have to give this presentation, but I'm not ready. I don't know what I can do. What can I do?" And I said to him, "Look, the only thing I can do for you is I'll give you a bandhan. And he said, oh, Mum, how is that going to help me? You're going to give me a bandhan. So anyway, then he hung up. I gave him a bandhan. And then 15 minutes later, he calls me up and he says, Mum, you'll never believe it. They ran out of time and I couldn't do my presentation. I don't have to do it till tomorrow. I've got all this time. So even though he had no belief in the bandhan, it still worked for him.
Wow.
So it's such a powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And like someone said, it doesn't always work the way that our ego is telling us that it should work. We just need to surrender it.
For sure. There is a disclaimer, guys, that you remember at the end of the
Yes.
day, we don't know what this divine wants. So if you're like, I really want this, I want that, I don't know, just remember, you have to trust the divine power that whatever is right will work out. So yeah, that's really nice. I want to hear the other stories, but maybe next time we'll talk you there, Auntie Jens.
We just are about just 14 minutes, no, 24 minutes.
No, 24 minutes till midnight.
Then we can still go ahead. We are all with you.
No, it is a weeknight, guys. I'm sorry. I know we've gone over time, guys, but this has seriously been a very entertaining Q&A, and time has flown. But it is a weeknight in Brisbane, so last comments from Auntie Erin, and then over to Uncle Sudipto. Do you want to add anything, Auntie? Sorry.
Yes, you have to cover 24 minutes. You can't stop.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
You're good? Okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so on that note, guys, we're going to call it a wrap for our Q&A. Thank you again to our panelists. I think Uncle Yogi's just dropped off, and he is also ever amazing with his repository of stories and experiences. Tell us in the WhatsApp or in the chat box how your Bandhan experience goes, how you felt. And if you need any guidance, let us know. On that note, we'll bring back Uncle Sudipto just to do a little wrap-up meditation on some common themes we've covered today of, things like stress at work, unpleasant people or unpleasant situations. And Uncle Sudipto can lead us whatever comes to him spontaneously, and we'll call it a wrap. So thank you again, our panelists. We'll see you again. And over to Uncle Sudipto.
Thank you. Yes, so I was about to ask you to bring mother's photograph, and if you can please put on the music also lightly, just lightly. Nice and slowly raise our Kundalini a couple of times. Those fans of Kundalini. And remember, our attention, our Mother Kundalini follows our hands also. Let's try and hold our attention above our sahasrara. Address the whole myriad of problems that we discussed about. Just say, Mother, I surrender these problems. I surrender them. I detach myself from them. May the problems get resolved in the best way you want them to get resolved. bring our right hand on our left heart. We can invite our Mother Kundalini. Please come in my heart. Please let me enjoy your love in my heart. Let me enjoy the love of all pervading power in my heart. Let's bring both our hands together. Thank our spirit for the wonderful experience of processing. Let us collectively raise our Kundalini and put ourselves in Bandha. Nice and slow again. Just try and slow it down with full attention, full understanding. Second time. Third time with 3 knots. We'll go over that and repeat that 6 more times. Gesture of thanks to our own spirit. Our Thanks everyone for joining tonight's session. Have a wonderful day if you're starting your day or if you're ending it. Have a restful one. Look forward to catching up with you again tomorrow. Yes.